Maybe our lives were not meant to collide from the start, but who could foresee the fall?
We are in Grand Bahama, and we were originally anchored at west of West End, and it was actually really good. We got a good holding. It was really calm.
Yeah, that first day was a dream.
It was beautiful. But then today, the swell came in, and we were just getting rocked way too hard. So we were like, okay, we need to move. And there's this protected anchorage. Do you know what this is called?
Gunnarsson. Basically, it was like a housing development that they cut a channel to then build houses, and then the development never happened. So it's just a deep channel that people can anchor in.
Well, I don't know if there's a lot of rock in here, like slate maybe, but we just could not get a holding. So then we got to spend the next, what, like hour and a half trying to find a spot, and nothing was holding. Every single thing we tried, we were just dragging immediately.
Yeah, just like picking up, dropping the anchor again and again and again. With the current, just like turning our boat sideways the whole time. It was just an absolute battle. A lot of good practice of just
That's true.
maneuvering our boat in a tight space, but...
That's true. I did try to reframe and be like, you know what? I didn't know we'd get so much practice anchoring today, and we got a lot, so...
Shout out to Captain John, who made me maneuver in the Fort Lauderdale canals for like 4 hours. Today's kind of our last push towards the Abaco Islands, and we're just gonna try to pull up our anchor, spin around, and get out of here.
Took us a minute to get out of here. It felt like the anchor was stuck, maybe on a rock or something, I'm not sure, but we did get it out, and we're on the move.
Since I didn't mention exactly what happened in the video, our anchor was stuck and we were unable to get it back up, but quick thinking, we slowly moved forward over the anchor and then pulled it up from that direction, and that worked.
We're all trying to come over memories of the past and start over. The past can start over. Start over.
We've got about 16 to 17 knots of wind, and we're gonna go ahead and get the mainsail up with a reef in it, and then we'll see how much of the Genoa we release.
We are, I think, like 12 or 13 nautical miles into the sail, and now we are finally sailing. We are going like 6 knots though, 6.5 almost, and like 15 knots of wind. So doing pretty well. I think we're just gonna keep it with the mainsail reef and then the Genoa out. And I think we should have a nice, easy day of sailing. Fingers crossed.
Stop jinxing us by saying that.
I'm just manifesting it, dude.
We're all building bridges slowly, tearing them down fast to start over. We're all trying to come over memories of the past and start over. We're all building bridges slowly, tearing them down fast to start over.
We're heading out into the Bahamas Bank, leaving West End and making our way to Great Sale Cay. We were both tired, but looking forward to this sail because we didn't have to get into the Gulf Stream. Although we had 15 to 20 knots of wind, the waves were only about 1 to 2 feet. The Bahamas Bank is only about 10 to 20 feet deep, so the waves don't have as much time to build up here. No one got sick on this trip, and we ended up downloading and listening to some podcasts, which made this trip go by way faster. We made it to Great Sale Cay North Anchorage before sunset and set in for the night. The West Anchorage is overall much more protected, but the only direction it's not protected from is the south. And of course, when we arrived, the wind was coming from the south. So we anchored in the North Anchorage with the plans to move over to the West Anchorage in the morning.
I guess everyone knows that like when you own a boat, you got a lot of sleepless nights. But I guess I just want to tell you about tonight because it's been a little bit rough after a couple of really long days. We get to this anchorage, we got anchored, everything was fine, our anchor was set well. We knew that the wind was gonna shift at like 2 in the morning and it was gonna suck. Like it was gonna be rocky, it was gonna suck, but the other anchorage was like in, so we couldn't anchor there when we arrived. We were planning to move once the sun comes up, which I think a lot of boats are doing because there's a lot of people anchored over here. One of the first things that went wrong, we noticed right when it was getting dark that the anchor light wasn't on, and it was flipped. It's just the light wasn't on. We were like, did the light bulb go out? Like, what's going on? And we realized the fuse was popped. So we popped it, or we flipped it back, and then the light came on, right? But then in the middle of the night, I realized that the fuse had popped again. We turned on top light just so we were visible. But yeah, something's going on with that. And the top light at least seems to be staying on, so that's good. That's giving me like a little bit of anxiety, but we kind of got that sorted out. Although my mind keeps waking me up to be like, is the top light still on? Like, are we visible? I knew the winds were gonna shift, but we did not. There was no forecast for a thunderstorm that came through. And this is the first time we've been in a thunderstorm anchored. Again, I was just like tossing and turning with anxiety of like, what if we get struck by lightning? Although we probably don't have the tallest mast here, if I'm being honest, but still, I was just panicking about that. And I eventually calmed myself down, like, okay, if we get struck by lightning, that is when we'll deal with whatever happens. But right now, like, worrying about it and not sleeping doesn't make us not get struck by lightning. So I was able to calm down and fall back asleep. And then the wind shifted, and it's been super rolly, just waking us up constantly. And in one of those moments of waking up, I was trying to fall back asleep, and I was like, what is that high-pitched frequency? Like, I couldn't figure it out. I was listening for a minute, and then it dawned on me that it was the anchor alarm. And normally the anchor alarm's much louder, and like the beeping wakes me up. But I think just because we're rolling so hard, like there was just a lot of noise with the wind and the rain and everything, like we just couldn't hear it. And we didn't hit anything, we didn't hit anyone, so that's great. But we did drag quite a bit, and most we've ever dragged before. And then we had to reset it in the pitch black, and it's just been a night. And I just want to share because I'm sure all of you know by our vlogs, this is not all rainbows and sunshine. It's been quite the adjustment. I guess I'm grateful that we're getting a lot of practice in with re-anchoring at night and like going through these things going wrong. On the bright side, you know, we're figuring things out.
Time has gone and I grew up. I somehow made it through without losing sight. And I still wonder where you are, and if you found a way out from the dark. The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind.
We spent a few days in the west anchorage of Great Sale Cay. It was a good place to relax for a day or two and get some work done on our computers, but we were running low on fresh food and it was time to get going, so we made our way over to Foxtown. There was so little wind this day, we decided to motor there, and the water was so calm, I was able to get my laptop out and work on editing a video.
We have to try and keep up, 'cause this life's so much more. Ooh, and I still wonder where you are. Ooh, if you found a way out, come seek me out.
We made a touch of a mistake where we tied up our dinghy, came over to the ladder, and then realized that our lines are a little bit far away from the actual ladder. So I'm gonna go try to see if I can get them. Just gotta embrace your inner child, you know?
You did it, dude.
Yeah. I just had to climb over on this white bark.
We're in Foxtown and just went to land to get some groceries. The store was pretty small and it was obvious that fresh food hasn't come recently, but we were able to get a few things and I want to show you all what we got for $43.
For $43, we bought a carton of eggs, a loaf of bread, 2 potatoes, 1 onion, 1 tomato, a 5-pound bag of rice, and a drink that we split. We also grabbed a can of Pringles because someone in the comments mentioned them helping with seasickness, and although we haven't been physically sick since we crossed the Gulf Stream, we still deal with nausea when the waves are rough and are willing to try anything. Hopefully the seasickness will keep improving and we'll get our sea legs soon.
I forgot to record, but we also threw away a bag of trash. It wasn't a very big bag and they were willing to take it, so that was awesome. Typically what we've been doing is when we get fuel, when we're tipping the guy, we ask if he doesn't mind throwing away the trash, and every time they've been like, oh sure, no problem. So that's typically how we've been getting rid of our garbage. Every time we've been making water, I've been trying to do a small load of laundry because you can't put the first like few gallons or liters or whatever into the tank. So we just have like water that we made that's not necessarily gross or unusable. It's just like you don't really want it in the drinking tank. So I've been using that to do a little bit of laundry at a time. But we're planning to go to Sale Cay soon and we're hoping to hit a laundromat there so we can like really get laundry done.
Tales of worries, travel with the storm. But I must try to figure it out alone. Yeah, I must try to figure it out alone. And now, ooh, when you're gone, ooh, I know things won't be the same no more, I'm sure. It'll take a while 'cause I'm still sore, yeah, now, ooh, when you're gone.
We made one last push to the Abacos and made it to Manjack Cay. Manjack Cay is only an hour out from Green Turtle Cay, which we've decided will be our last push south this year. We are so thrilled with ourselves for making it all the way to the Abacos. Even if we don't make it to Hopetown this year, it's definitely something to look forward to next season.
Try to figure it out alone.
While we're hanging out in this bay, we decided to work on cleaning the bottom of the boat and just take some time to enjoy the water. Patrick also went spearfishing for the first time with some new friends. We are still so amazed at how overall welcoming the sailing community has been, and the privilege it has been to meet new people everywhere we go.
Our boat is still floating. So that's the good news. The bad news is that we broke the steering yoke on our drive leg. So that's kind of no good. That also means we really shouldn't use our motor anymore, which means we're a little stuck here for the time being.